Hi, I'm Aylam Orian, and I'm the founder of the National Animal Rights Day. It's one day a year where we stop everything and we dedicate this day to animals. Both the sad side of loving animals, the loss, the mourning over animals, over the billions of animals that are killed every year, including the animals we lost in our lives, but also the celebrating animals, the happy side of having animals in our lives, the changes that are happening in the world towards ending the cruelty to animals, the world ideally going vegan and stopping this crazy reliance on animals. So there's a lot to mourn and to be mournful for, and a lot to celebrate. Sometimes we have individual animals with us that we literally give them a funeral service. These are animals that their bodies have been rescued from all kind of terrible places. Thankfully, they died on their own before they were slaughtered, but we managed to get their bodies and we give them a funeral service.
This is a funeral procession for the 66 million land animals killed in factory farming every year.
And looking at these coffins, it made me realize a conversation I had a long time ago with some animal rights friends of mine. We realized that when a human being kills an animal on a factory farm, in some ways that's the most merciful thing that will ever happen to that animal. Because at least when the animal dies, its suffering ends. And that's so horrifying that death is the only mercy that hundreds of billions of animals ever receive at the hands of humans.
We found a few places that have animals, they raise animals for human consumption. They have animals that die overnight or just die there, and they were willing to give us these animals, and we take them, we clean them, we wash them, we give them the only love they ever receive on this planet, give them a name, we tell their story.
Tulip, Lily, Marnie, Beauty, and Saul, who were born as chickens, all came from a live meat market. Athena, the sheep, had a longer life than the rest of these animals, but not less miserable. She was used for breeding. Repeatedly pregnated, she had her babies taken away from her right after birth, time and time and time again, until she could no longer breed. And then she was sold to become cheap meat. But her body was so frail from the years of abuse, and the scent of her last babies, Oreo and Smudge, were taken away from her just the day before. It was too much for her to bear. Her heart was broken. She collapsed and took her last breath on this earth.
I happened to go to the Cannes Film Festival with a short film. I'm also a filmmaker and an actor. So I went to the Cannes Film Festival with a short film of mine, and on the way back I passed through Madrid. And I saw a line of people in the middle of the biggest square in Madrid with laptops on their bodies, no masks. That was 2010, so before AV existed. Just looking you in the eye with videos on their bodies, silently standing in a line and just showing you videos of how animals are slaughtered, how they're treated in farms, factory farms. And this blew me away because you stand in front of them. I'm going to get emotional. You make eye contact with these people. They look you in the eye. And the nonverbal message is, look, you're responsible for this. Do you want to continue paying for this? There's no shouting. There's not a single word spoken, but you get the message. How do we get it on a bigger level? How do we use the power of video and, in a way, this theatrical installation thing in the middle of the street to reach more people? And then we looked again to Igualdad Animal, and they happened on December 10th, the International Animal Rights Day, which is not really celebrated anymore. They came up with this idea. They brought 400 activists to Plaza del Sol in Madrid, the biggest square there. And they stood in this formation, all wearing their shirts and white lab overalls, and they just held deceased animals in their hand, each person basically. So they magnified the message of, again, the nonverbal message. There was no word uttered against people or shouting at people. Just the nonverbal message is, oh, we've seen the videos before, now we're showing you the real. This is what you're responsible for. Look at this lamb, look at this baby pig, look at this baby goat, look at this chicken. You're responsible for these animals being dead. Look how they look. They don't look different than your cat and dog that you cradle in your arms. It's also the way people hold them is very gentle, you know, the way you would hold your human baby or your cat or dog, right? So I saw this in videos and photos and wow, these guys are amazing. Let's try something like that. In the beginning when we started these video demos, I was a filmmaker before I became an actor. I did videos, I did short films in Israel. So we were harnessing the power of video. But then when we saw this installation done by Animal Equality in Spain, I realized, wow, yeah, I'm an actor, I've done theater, I know the power of a group of people presenting a spectacle to an audience. I know the power of doing theater in the street theater, or installation, if you will. So we combine that power of videos, of images, and street theater in a way to do these events. So the way we stand in these ceremonies, the way we're dressed, the unity that's involved, the way we position all the elements, the animals, the posters, the banners, you can call it's a street theater. It's a theatrical event indeed. So I got the inspiration from their ceremonies, but they didn't do a full-on event. They just did like a protest and then they went home. We decided we want to do a protest, but we don't want people to go home very emotional and upset, and also there's much to celebrate. So we decided to add the celebration part. Almost my entire family was killed in the Holocaust. My dad was born in Poland, escaped with his parents when he was 3 years old to Palestine, which later became Israel. Everyone else, all his uncles, all the parents, all the grandparents, everybody died in the Holocaust. Children, older people, everybody. Almost same thing happened with my mom's family, came from Romania and Ukraine. A few of them made it to Palestine, but the rest of them also killed in the Holocaust. The awareness of so much misery and suffering and unnecessary misery and suffering and death has really influenced me to the point that I don't want to see any unnecessary death or suffering or misery anywhere, including these species, not only in our human species, in other species. Why do anything like that to somebody else just because they're different than you or you don't understand their language? I started in 2011, and when I moved to LA, it expanded to the second city, and then San Francisco, and then the US, and then Europe. And so from Igualdad Animal of Inspiration in Spain, it came here, and then we sent it back to everywhere else around the world.
Just like us, animals enjoy their freedom when they can get it. They enjoy good health, they enjoy their family and friends, and they deserve it. We can help them.
Is an extraordinary event. It changed my life. I became vegan after my first time here, and I think the takeaway is it strengthens us. Those of us that are fighting this battle and feel like we're talking, we're preaching to people that are not listening, but I believe the message is getting through. I see it on a lot of people. I see the transition happening, and NARD is a big part of that. It's very encouraging, and it just gives me strength, and that's why I come every
This is thousands of people around the world that come together with no money, no resources, only this flame here and love for animals. And they come together and do these events for months, working on them, getting the animals, getting the logistics, getting permits, fighting with cities and all that stuff. And they do it. And I try to instill in them this philosophy that I brought from the Israeli army of never give up, never give up. Because I felt like giving up many times. Many cities tell us, oh, we can't, it's too difficult. And we always try them, don't give up. See through, you'll be thankful that you did it. And indeed, I think all of them that managed to do it, and most of them didn't give up, they all went through with it, are happy that they did it. Because you're planting a seed, you're there for the animals. I don't care if it's just you and your four other friends standing in the street commemorating that day. You're planting a seed, you're sending a ripple effect into the universe. I believe that the animals somehow sense and know that we're there standing there for them. So I'd much rather that you still do it and stand with your friends and commemorate the day than not do anything at all. And I always say, the animals have it much worse. The challenges they're going through, the conditions under which they live and die are much, much worse than anything that we go through. So I always kind of want to encourage people to, brace themselves and keep on going and do it. And of course, we thank you. We're full of gratitude for you. And the animals, I think, thank you. I really believe that the animals would thank us. If these specific animals are dead, the other ones that we mention in these events are still lamenting as we speak in all kind of cages and places around the world. If they knew that we're there and doing this for them, they would thank us, because nobody else does it for them.
We can no longer fool ourselves. We can do more than memorialize. We are rarefied in our knowledge, and at this moment, we act on a code of ethics that is strong as stone. This moment, these activists, this planet, we vow to lead the morally blind, the ethically bankrupt, to herald the truth, to write, to sing, to paint, to organize, to march. This moment in the terrible knowing, in this irrefutable consensus, we are more than mere witnesses. We are the first army of nonviolence in the history of the world.